welcome back to Run the Terra. This is episode 22. I am Grandmaster Dan,
I'm Adam Edelman Munoz.
And I'm Stan Jarzewski.
and today we got a little episode for all you singles out there. The gauntlet right now is singleton deck building, so we thought what better than to have three single guys on the podcast. Not actually single, but I'm doing it for the bros because dudes rock.
So for this short period of time, you broke up with your girlfriend.
Yes,
for
I
us.
just put it in. Just put in the request over the wire over text. Currently, my phone is just ablaze with WTFs and why would you do this? But we're gonna put that on silent mode for the next hour and look at the new gauntlet. Also gonna look at the meta and Stan's patch notes after being heloed out of Riot HQ, successfully pulled off his mission. But Stan, first off, let's start with that meta pulse. You know, what are you seeing from the patch you made?
Yeah. So the meta has changed up a bit this week. Some of the buffs and stuff from the patch note have been having a huge impact on things going forward here. We've got a kind of tight little tier 1 here. Heimer Vice coming back is a really strong choice. TF Ezreal, that good old frickin' volley of 3 things that shoot stuff,
Make it
cannon
rain.
stuff. That card and TF are finally kind of getting their chance to shine here.
I'm sorry.
make
Is
it
this
rain, yeah.
vindication for my highly uneducated
Called
call in
it.
the beginning of this meta?
Yeah. But that's a newer deck that's coming around, kind of a new version of the Ezreal Twisted Fate that really centers around, sticking one of these champions and either going all in on the Ez targets with like Riptide Rex just giving you all of them that you could ever need at the end of the game, or sticking a TF in the mid game and just drawing through and flipping him and, doing general good TF shenanigans. It's
How
kind
did
of
I not
been
know that Riptide Rex gave you all your Ezreal targets? Like, how did I not realize that?
Yeah, it gives you all but one of them. So
Oh
it's
God!
pretty good.
Oh man!
And it doesn't even get countered
How
if
did
the
we miss
unit
that?
dies
This
because
is,
it still
I
goes
think I have to
face.
resign from podcasting.
Yeah, we all kind of missed that, but it does what it does. I've been playing around a lot with this deck, and it's definitely a bit of a trickier one. I feel like you really got to figure out which side of the plan you want to be on, because it's not as all in on the combo as like the old as Karma ones were, where like your one turn kill is assured. You have a lot more creatures than you used to, and you've really got to get some decent yoinks out of the opponent's deck to really
Right.
get that Ez combo to work. But in general, you're dealing enough damage and like pinging them enough throughout the game. I mean, I've won games just firing 3 warning shots off after a Riptide Rex and stuff like that. There's certainly other ways to kill the opponent with it. Tinko Elusive's still going strong. Not no real changes here. Some variation has come into the deck, like people have started using things like Keeper of Masks. Navori Highwayman has been finding his way in and out of decks, so there's definitely a bit more to play around with in this archetype than it initially seemed, but it's good. It's got some flex slots and it can definitely change up. And then Brahmanivia is the new big thing to hit the scene. With buffs on both of those cards, they are now very, very strong control tools.
Told you that would be good.
Yeah. New Brahm's very strong. The kind of Anivia cloning that goes on with good old Rekindler. Good old talks about, is Rekindler maybe kind of a stupid card again because,
Yes.
it kind of does something busted. But, between Rekindler and Chronicler of Ruin, you have a great cloning package in Shadow Isles that just multiple Anivias on the board are so hard to deal with and give you a ton of good end game. A bunch of the stuff that was seeing a lot of play before has kind of dropped a little bit. You have like Yoink Sedge is still like a strong deck, but just a little further down. Same with Burn Aggro, Tempo, and Dur. They're all still around, but just a bit weaker now. I know Tempo and Dur just hit some nerfs as well. We'll get into this in my 10-second spoilers.
Calculated.
But Basilisk Rider has created its entire own burn deck because it just is in fact good enough and is what you want to be doing at that slot point. He's a very strong go boy.
All right. If I'm going to be claiming all my victories for the other ones, I have to give a mea culpa on this one. I did not expect Basilisk Rider would ever be good enough to be playable.
Yep, he has literally spawned his own version of burn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off on a tangent and say I'm not gonna own up to this because the game is so degenerate, thanks to Stan, that things like this are cropping up and looking like they're viable.
This is the deck I buffed him for. He fit right into it. It worked perfectly.
I'm pulling a classic move of blaming other people for my mistakes, and I think it's gonna work out well for me.
It's Stan.
But yeah, we've also got a bit of an elusive burn deck showing up as well. That's somewhere kind of in between the two, where you play a little bit of Nox along with your elusive cards to kind of get some, extra damage in there with all your sneaky little dudes.
Dude, that deck was all I saw for like a week.
I could totally believe that. It kind of just hits on two fronts that really catch the meta by surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the type of deck that in another week or two is just completely dead, because it does kind of look like it's, running on its own.
It's slipping.
Yeah, it was maybe just taking advantage of some weaknesses in the meta, because it is kind of two separate things being just literally pasted together. But who knows, maybe it has some good longevity. I mean, it is two strong ways to get your opponent from 20 to 0 quick. So on top of that, we have some other new things changing. So we'll get into this again in the patch notes, but bringing Poros, specifically Aurora Borealis, down to 6 makes it perfect for Lux. So now kind of Lux and Braum are the Poro couple. Just
Not
raising
exactly
all the little Poro babies.
Not exactly where I expected Braum to show up or the Poros to show up, but like I said last week, that's a deck I wanted to keep my eye on.
Yeah. I mean, it does do another one of the things that Lux kind of wants, which is generate creatures out of spells. So it is like a weird remembrance that takes an extra turn, but
Yes, the world's most expensive is the remembrance.
Yeah. And then, everything else is about where it was, just maybe dropping down a little bit more. We still got Yasuo control decks running around. Karina control is still a deck, just it's significantly worse, but, it's around. And then Karma Ez is unfortunately, antiquely pretty low, but a deck that you can play.
The better non-combo control decks get, the better Karina control gets, because it's got a solid anti-aggro package, but it's not a flexible anti-aggro package, so you need aggro to be like a specific set of stuff that it's good against. But when it's good, your control finisher is just one of the best in the game. Atrocity Ledros is just so hard to beat if you're any other control deck.
Yep. So that's most of what's going on with the meta right now. Pretty much all I've been seeing on ladder is kind of like the Braum Anivia, a little bit of Heimervi, a little bit of TFS, and some version of aggro beyond that. Kind of all the other decks get sprinkled in here and there, just depending on people who are feeling a bit spicier, but that's definitely like the core of the meta right now. So that's the meta. So now let me give y'all a quick rundown of everything.
The pan's hot, dude. It's time for the hot takes, brother.
Oh yeah. So I did feel like Darius needed that 1 extra health. Really important. Trust me, did some hypergeometric calculations on that. Mucho importante. Anivia, I didn't do this one. This was actually Riot. I wasn't going to touch this card, but, good on them. They made Anivia super viable again. I feel like she's right where she needs to be. Braum, I did... Viable? God damn it. yeah, I did this reworking of Braum. I kind of took a little bit of what we've been talking about on the pod, and then realized like, whoa, what if you just made a Poro right away? And like, perfect, great card. Braum's really good now. I did think Jinx needed some help. I wanted to do more, but you know, Super Mega Death Rocket, at least they kept this. I think they went back in and patched some of the stuff that I did. We'll get into that a little later, down the line here. But this was definitely one of the things I wanted to do to Jinx. Probably wanted to give her a bit more power too, but didn't let that stick. Genevieve or Olmhart, all Riot. I didn't touch this, but I like it. Another one of these things that I feel like in the decks that she's going to get played in, this is a really good buff for her because she's such a dead card if she isn't anything other than her like amazing situation. Unyielding Spirit, I actually had to take out 2 Riot employees to get this one through. They were like, oh no, this needs to be burst. It's so good burst. This is the card we love the most. And I was like, no, look, for everyone's sake, I did this for you guys. I took out 2 Riot employees for you, the fans, because this needed to be fast speed at least.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So that happened. Basilisk Rider, we already talked about him. I did this to specifically make that deck happen. Captain Farron, this is one of the ones I'm really proud of. I wanted to kind of give Noxus some good control things toward the end, and that's, he hasn't seen any play yet, but someone's going to figure out Captain Farron, and everyone's going to be really happy about it.
I've been messing with this, actually. Captain Farron does fairly well in Swain-based control decks, and the only time I lose is when my singles and Captain Farron gets stolen, and the opposing burn deck gets 12 burst for nothing.
Oh yeah, that's pretty rough. Aurora Borealis, so this is definitely not what I submitted to Riot whatsoever. It was definitely, like, it was costed at 4, and it still put everything on the board, and they were like, oh, well, what if we made it 6 and put everything in your hand? And like, yes, does this card read 6 mana, draw 4? Sure, but does it actually read that? No, it reads 6 mana, put 4 bad cards in your hand. I don't get why they won't just make this card as good as I want it to be. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. I get why they had to repatch this back. My version was maybe a little too strong, but 4 mana, everything goes on the board. Mwah, Poros were great. Poro
Riot, give us admin privileges.
I know. This was exactly what I wanted out of Poro Herder. I left him at still drawing 2 Poros because I didn't like... It's 2 1-drops usually, like, whatever. But, I guess this is better balance for that weird variance where you end up drawing, like, 2 Mighty Poros out of it, and it's like, oh, cool, that's really good. We all made very good points about She Who Wanders needing regeneration again, so, good call. We all got it.
Because They Who Endure,
that's all Riot's nerf. I thought this deck was fine. I thought this card was fine. I think this nerf is fine. I don't think it really, like, screws them over too bad, except slowing the deck down just a little bit against aggro. Ren Shadowblade, I don't know what happened here. I think I just went and button mashed for a little bit, and then this card came out. So that's cool. It's neat. It's different. Jaima Dardar's sort of the same thing. I liked his old version better, but, whatever. He's, a thing now. I still don't know, like, if this card's ever going to get played anywhere ever, but he's around. Escaped Abomination, I brought him down to 3 because this was just a really, 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 really good call. Trust me, guys, the meta was going to be busted open with everything else if we didn't do this. It makes perfect sense. The Harrowing. Since they did that nerf and made it the strongest allies that died way back when and made the card more reasonable, I felt like, hey, what card needs to come back? The Harrowing. So we dropped it down to mana. Dread Dredgers, that was all them. I didn't have anything to do with this. I think this is reasonable, though. Like, deep decks did get to go a little bit faster. This card traded up really nicely. Totally reasonable thing here. Mind Meld, we all know what we're doing with this. This has still got to go lower. I just kind of did this one before I got out of there because I wanted to make the deck better before we got there. But, whatever.
I've been testing the deck, Stan.
Yeah.
I've been trying it. I'm undefeated.
Yeah. I was tired of my petty officer getting killed by Shadow Isle's 1-drop stuff, so I gave them all 1 more health because that just seemed really important. And then, you guys talked about the NAB thing switching over. We all actually called this pretty well that it might come from the bottom, and I totally nerfed Black Market Lookout just to kind of appease all the people who were, gabbing on and on about how much they hated Nab, so I made sure that the centerpiece Nab card was just a little bit weaker. Like, good move. Nab's a good mechanic. Stop bitching about it. It's not that bad. And yeah, that's the rundown. We did it.
We did
All
it.
right,
Well,
good
really,
stuff, Stan. Thanks for the good buffs and nerfs.
Yeah, did everything I could while I was sneaking over there.
All right, all you single ladies and single fellas and single beings, get on down to the dance floor because it's time for Singleton deck building. So yeah, if you don't know, the Gauntlet is Singleton based. So we're gonna run through some example decks, give you some overview strategy for building Singleton decks in general. Yeah, Adam, why don't you throw us with a little bit of something, a little bit of spice you've been building.
So those of you guys who have been paying any attention to the last few podcasts, or any of our podcasts, will know I am obsessed with Shadow Isles Freljord Control. So it will not surprise you that the first thing I did when I got to this gauntlet was a Shadow Isles Freljord Control list. What may surprise you is that Shadow Isles Freljord Control is actually good in Singleton, and I went 7-0, no questions about it, no matches that were even close. I don't think my health got below 7 the entire gauntlet run.
7?
It was a crazy good stack of cards. You've got a ton of draw in the list. The early game last breath units are great ways of stalling out aggro decks while you find more value and find ways to answer them. Additionally, you've got a solid removal package and a very flexible AoE removal package between the Box, Avalanche, Withering Wail, and Ember Maiden. Lastly, a lot of the things Shadow Isle Freljord Control decks are weak to are fairly dependent on consistency. So you have a bit of a rough time with elusives because if they can get ahead of you, you're constantly clearing their stuff inefficiently, and while they continue to hit you. Similarly, you have a bit of trouble with specifically. I have forgotten the card's name. Crimson Aristocrat. Because again, if you don't have many 3 damage things, and so you're usually taking damage from it multiple times before it gets cleared. This is especially bad if you try to grasp it and they buff it, because then you're taking damage from it for the grasp and then from whatever it was you were trying to do when they were trying to do when you cleared it. So there's a lot of ways things can go wrong that rely on consistency, and Shadow Isles Freljord Control loses a lot of those weaknesses going into this Singleton format because everyone else is using consistency, and a lot of your pieces are fairly replaceable. So, for example, if you used to run, say, Cursed Keeper as a 3-up because you were trying to sacrifice it to Glint's Beyond and other similar effects, you don't lose a lot by going 1 Cursed Keeper, 1 Warden's Prey, 1 Helpless Aristocrat, and maybe at least to make some Spiderlings. But your opponents lose a lot by playing less efficient aggro cards. Similarly, especially in Shadow Isles and Freljord, the traditional finisher is Ledros plus Atrocity, and that's, a cut above the rest. But you don't really mind picking up some of the other expensive cards, right? You don't mind adding in Tuskraider Sedge or Raza for board clear or Rekindler. All these cards that are just a bit inefficient that you wouldn't normally run suddenly because they were only just a bit behind what you had before, you can now bring them up and really get something good out of them.
Love that.
Which all of this to say that the deck works very well, that you have a lot of options. You do have to play it patiently. You have to be careful, think about what your opponent is capable of having and what you can play around. But it works fairly well. Another benefit of this is that, as we talked about with Freljord champions, they're kind of generically good, but until their recent buffs, most of them didn't have a specific home. In Singleton, you can't build quite as well as synergies, but generically good cards start to shine. So Braum, Anivia, Sedge, and Tryndamere are all excellent choices for Singleton. The long story short of this is, it worked very well. We're going to have a code for you guys if you want to try it, but it was just a total monster.
Yeah, I've been playing the list, picking up off Adam, and it seemed pretty strong. Ledros is just such a powerful finisher, especially in Singleton, where it's just like it's dominating every other card the opponent has.
I am actually taking a strategic boycott of Singleton Gauntlet because they, again, as I've said repeatedly, will not. When they said Singleton, I assume that means I played a single card 40 times, and in fact, it's the other way around. You play 40 different cards once. So I'm taking a boycott to not only add that good old Riot TM clarity to the format, but also to allow me to play my 40 Teemo deck. Right, this is day 79 of my Gauntlet boycott. Yes, I understand the Gauntlet has not been around that long, but I was planning it for a while. Please respond to my text, right?
All right, Stan, other than trying out my lovely list, have you tried anything else in the Gauntlet?
I haven't pulled anything into the Gauntlet yet, but there are definitely some things that spring to mind immediately for a format like this, like Silent Submersible and Catastrophe. Are definitely two cards that just slot into any P&Z deck you're going to play in this format.
I mean, I'd argue those are so good they draw you towards PNZ, and I've actually got a list. I got a PZ list I'm looking at. I want to give it a try before I tell everyone it's amazing. But
yeah,
Vi's a good card in this format.
I've seen some PNZ Shadow Isles in the format already. It seemed pretty solid. It has a lot of the tools you want for both. Like it just has so much control. Just instead of having like good 1-to-1 units, you have kind of your extra P&Z removal suite. So you have a bit better time just waiting until you get to your late game. And then you still have great finishers like Heimerdinger and Vi if you want her. I don't really think comboing off with Ez is super viable in that deck.
Nice, dude.
Finally caught it. God. Let's see. But all the Shadow Isles, like Hecarim, is still a great finisher. You still have Ledros in that. Kind of the other things I've seen so far too is I think people have just been trying to put together like mid-range piles. I don't think that's really the way to go here.
I agree. If mid-range decks run on efficiency, and playing the less efficient option is going to defeat your game plan.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I've seen a few, like, Demacia Freljord builds that just kind of felt super clunky, and, especially since in those two colors you don't have a lot of great card draw for you, so if your opponent at any point gets ahead of you, you're just dead. There's no real coming back from it. Haven't really seen too much aggro yet in this format. That's, I think, another interesting thing to try and build. This format is a little bit slower, so I feel like if you can get an aggro deck, and anytime you get a good start, you're going to have a game where you're pretty advantaged. But I think just building a consistent aggro deck in this format's a little tricky.
I've been thinking about aggro, and my first instinct is Demacia Noxus.
Okay.
The key thing that Demacia Noxus gives you is the best suite of 1-drops.
That makes a lot of sense, and that is very much what you need going forward there.
I mean, you don't feel too bad running Cythria, Fleet Feather Tracker, Legion Rearguard, Legion Saboteur, Precious Pet, and even Draven's Biggest Fan gets a lot of value in this because you're not going to have consistency, and so cards that can marginally increase your consistency are fairly valuable.
Absolutely. Having 2 Dravens in your deck is a lot better than just having 1. That's for sure.
Additionally, you've got some really good finishers in the list. You've got Darius, Decimate, and Decisive Maneuver, all of which have seen competitive play at times. You've got Cythria and Captain Farron as kind of ways of going over other decks. And you can always run the best mid-range creatures from Demacia. Figured out that name. You're not going to have the same immense efficiency that you normally have, but you're still going to get some mileage out of Grizzled Ranger and Loyal Badger Bear.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, a good champion suite for aggression too, and things like Lucian even. It's a great place for him to be. Your Dravens, Fiora, Katarina, all things that are going to put in work in an aggro list if they can only be singleton. Yeah, I mean, low on the curve, this is definitely the place to be.
The other option is to run Piltover and Zaun just because you've got some very flexible kill spells.
And the
and
extra
Mystic Shot
burn.
and yeah, exactly. Mystic Shot and Get Excited both go face, and you
Yeah.
very rarely mind having a thermogenic beam.
See, I'm very wary though of trying to play more standard burn in a singleton format, just because your burn is so much less reliable.
It's
I
not
feel
that
like
you
that is
want
one
to
of
rely on the burn, but you still want to include it if you have access to it.
oh, absolutely,
I
yeah.
mean,
If
just
that's
because
the
you don't
aggro
get to
route
play
you're gonna
6
go,
copies, you still get to. It's still nice to have, however many you actually have the burn.
yeah,
1 decimate is better than 0, even though it's worse than 3.
right, absolutely. But I mean, that's again, if you're gonna be in aggro in a singleton format, Nox is probably one of your 2 colors. They've just kind of already
Absolutely.
got the burn that you need there.
I did look at a fairly out there build of Shadow Isles Aristocrats, and I mean mono Shadow Isles, or like 1Z.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you have so many cards that play to the game plan, a number of which are less efficient but still kind of work there.
Well, you wouldn't need just the 1Z. Why not play things like Navori Highwaymen and, other Ionian things that copy or give you little value for, like, sacrificing things? I mean...
I started fairly low because I was also trying to get in a Mistwraith. It may be right to just cut the Mistwraith and play more Ionia. I'm just...
Well...
This is more of an idea phase thing than it is a fully fleshed out deck.
I mean, even then, I guess, like, if it's your 1 of Zed, your 1 of Navori Highwaymen, and then maybe a... I'm trying to think of what else you'd really, really want from that. Because, I mean, if you won't... And maybe in, like, a Shadow Assassin.
And I guess you could theoretically run Deathmark, right? There's enough ephemeral stuff in this type of list.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you're sitting at 4 or 5 cards out of Ionia, which you still probably would be, even in a, like, just using the Zed as another color for an Aristocrats list, your Wraithcaller's still good there.
That's a good point. That's a 7/8 straight Wraithcaller.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, just if you're going to use Ionia, I would at least put in one other tool from it, and maybe like a Deny or something like that.
I see that.
Because, just because having the 1Z makes your Mistwraith that much better, adding 3 more cards doesn't make it that much worse.
Yeah. Agreed. So, moving our discussion along slightly, because obviously we can share as many variants of decks as we want. I'd like to talk a bit more about how you would build these decks, kind of if you were approaching it yourself, right? You're not us. You don't like any of the ideas we've just thrown at you. You want to do something entirely your own.
Very smart.
What should you be looking for?
What are you looking for?
Well, there
I've
you
lost
go.
my glasses. I can't see. What am I looking for, Adam?
You're usually looking for redundancy, right? The trick to formats like this is that they're going to dramatically reduce the consistency of your plan, and you're going to look for ways to undo that reduction in consistency. So if you've ever seen cards and said these cards look fairly similar, or this card looks like a worse some other card, like for example, Gotcha. What's that card called? Gotcha looks like a worse Mystic Shot, for example. That's the kind of effect you're going to want to think about for these singleton formats, because if you have cards that are just almost the good card, you get to play 2 effects you're effectively playing 2 or 3 copies. Additionally, you're going to want to look away from very narrow effects or effects that require building around them. So, for example, cards like Fiora and Ezreal go way down in value in this kind of format. Not that they're not still good, right? They're still champions, and you're going to have a lot of slots, so you should definitely still include cards like Fiora and Ezreal, because champions are very efficient. But don't try to build your deck around them, because you'll have just a much harder time getting your hands on them. Additionally, you're going to want to understand the results of this kind of reduced efficiency, right? As I mentioned, aggro decks are going to struggle a bit and because they run on efficiency, right? You're playing the best creature on 1, and then the best creature on 2, and then the best creature on 3. And if you don't have the best unit, your efficiency is going to go down. You're going to be a less good deck. So as a result, control decks can kind of take up. They get a bit of a buff. Part of the reason Shadow Isles Failure Control works so well is it's a bit of a slower control deck, and it relies on no specific synergies. So slower control deck, good secondary cards, no specific synergies, that's kind of all the requirements for this format. Additionally, obviously, if there's something that works very specifically narrowly with the format, that's great. So, for example, if this format is singleton, it means all the cards in your deck are going to be different, and Pursuit of Perfection is going to be a very powerful card. If you're in Piltoverman's On, it really doesn't matter what type of strategy you're doing, you should add one. So overall, that's kind of those should words are hard sometimes. Those should be your kind of guiding principles, right? Find what works in the format, find what ways to mitigate the downsides of the format, and find ways to play to the upsides of the format.
Heck yeah, I love it. Guys, what do you think the next, or how about this? What do we want the next Gauntlet to be? I mean, I think we already know my choice, but I'm trying to get some ideas for
So we know Standard, and they're going to be rotating Standard and Singleton for a bit.
Okay.
So we know what's coming up for a bit. That said, I think that what we want the next Gauntlet to be, that would be... that's a much harder question. I should think about that.
We'll let Adam think about that and force Stan to now answer right now.
Yeah, Stan, fill the silence so I sound like less of an idiot.
Yeah, so I mean, like the next Gauntlet,
How about this? We will make a fun section called "We Do Riot's Work for Them" because they're lazy people. Not really, JK. Yeah. So let's think up a fun format that we can put into Riot's Gauntlet mode, and let's also pretend like we're not just stealing it from another very reputable card game. I'm gonna call this one. It's called Squad Leader, and you play 80 card singleton, and one of the champions you get to cast at any time from a special Squad Leader zone, so to speak. How does that sound, guys?
I have never heard of anything like this before in my life, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, that came out of my brain. Nowhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Dan.
Yeah, I think that... Mm-hmm.
What if we did a format where you sort of these cards we play, you get to, I don't know, perhaps have 3 packs of 15 and then sort of virtually pass them around to 7 other people, and then you sort of draft a deck. We could call it drafting. We call it a draft format. That'd be fun.
This is the most insane thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. I don't think any card game can support something like that, Dan, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a try.
Marty, it's your cousin, Magic the Gathering. Have I got an idea for you? Listen to this.
If we're done ripping off Magic the Gathering... No, in all honesty, drafting's a great format. Commander's interesting. If they want to head that way, that's fine. But I think Gauntlet should hew a bit closer to the competitive side.
I agree.
Okay.
And with that in mind, I think that my first few ideas for Gauntlet would be small variations that work well. So either that we know have a fairly simple concept that can adapt well. So things I'd be interested in are single region decks. You have to play mono regions, see what you can make out of that.
Oh, so you mean everyone's going to play Shadow Isles. Cool.
So you say that, but the metagame will also be drastically different, right? You're not going to desperately need all of the Shadow Isles drain suite, unless, of course, everyone is playing Noxus, in which case maybe you will play Shadow Isles. But I think you could get a lot of mileage from, like, say, Mono Demacia mid-range, because that's already a deck, basically.
Bannerman!
Yeah.
I'd just be interested to see what kind of metagame develops if you kind of...
region locked?
you narrow it down. Additionally, or conversely, rather, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, what if we just got rid of region locking? What is the most degenerate combination of cards you can put together?
Yes, now that's what I'm talking about, Adam. That's a
Yeah.
brilliant idea.
See,
That's
another
a $5 billion idea right there.
Yeah. So I mean, I think both of those are interesting. I think you can also have Popper. Just gonna straight up rip off Magic, but I think that's still a very good one that can be very competitive.
Only commons, by the way.
Yeah, only
I
commons.
might expand that to only commons and rares, just given how the size of card pools work in Legends of Runeterra, right? In Magic, you've
It's
got a
not
lot
bad.
of stuff that is intended to be draft chaff, and Popper can kind of play with those cards and give them new life. In Legends, everything is meant to be viable, so it's a bit tricky to trim it down to just the commons, because then you're going to get very prescribed decks.
What about a format where you have to use you pick two of the epics that are like two of the creature epics from two different regions, and you need to play 3 of each of them, and you have to build around 2 epics because so many of the epics are so goddamn bad that nobody wants to play them.
I like that.
I am all in for this format. We'll call it Ledros's Paradise.
Yeah, basically.
Who the fuck needs champions when you've got 3 Ledros and 3 of the cheapest epic I can find?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I got a crazy idea here. All right, hear me out on this, but it's kind of weird. I was thinking about Stan's idea earlier. What if we just made them play only champions, and then wait, they can play any number of champions they want, and they all have to play 40 card Teemo. That's great. I can finally play my 40 card Teemo deck. This is a great idea. Wow, love it.
Everybody's
You
playing
mock,
40
but I'd be
card
kind of
Teemo.
curious to see how no card limits decks would work.
I would love to see that. I would absolutely
They'd have to
love
like
to see that.
figure out how to make the collections work with that, because obviously you only have 3 of any card in your collection, and but like I'd be very interested to see where that led.
Let's just have one weekend. It's just the purge of Runeterra. Everything's legal. All cards are legal. Crime is legal. You can start hacking in the game. You can do whatever
You can play
want.
your opponent's hand. You
For
just,
24 hours, you can play any deck you want. It has anything in it. You can put magic cards in it. Who cares? It's fucking purge Runeterra.
interesting. That seems like a fun, but only in the Gauntlet, right?
Exactly. It's sort of like a
yeah.
autonomous zone
That makes
where
sense,
anything
yeah.
goes.
Other considerations would be messing with the mana system, not hugely, but something along the lines of
Ooh, yeah, that'd be cool.
No spell mana for a weekend. See how that ran.
Or something
Ooh,
fun
wow.
where you gain 3 mana every turn.
Yeah, like
That
Super
sounds
Ramp.
more like a labs thing, right? You want to
That
keep.
does sound a lot
Oh.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here creating lab games, and we're talking about Gauntlet. You're right.
But that,
You're
I mean,
right.
that's a good point, right? They have gauntlets and labs, so we've got some flexibility going on there.
Yeah, so we accidentally just made like 16 lab games for Riot, but oh well. Yeah, I think getting back to it, I mean, I guess probably some of the best ones I've heard so far. I do actually like the concept of building around epics, but maybe they've like restrict it down. Like, they do like maybe 16 or 17 epics that they don't see a lot of play of, and like you're forced to build around them. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So no champions and a very restricted set of epics, and only 3, and treat them like champions. No more than 3 of each.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
Or,
so.
sorry, not more than 3 of each. That's all cards. No more than 6 total.
I think they give you like a suite of epics to choose from, and that's what you're building your deck around.
I can
Or
see that.
another idea I had was the losers, and it's where they pull their data and they find the cards that just like basically never get played, or they like have some cutoff for like when they never get played, and you can only play from those cards. And so it's just the losers. Just play all the loser cards in one big loser meta.
I can't actually think of what cards see so little play other than
That's actually a
freaking
good
Golden
point.
Narwhal. And I don't want to play a 40 Narwhal deck, okay?
Well, sorry, Adam.
That sounds kind of funny, actually.
That is the next Actually, isn't a 40 Narwhal deck just Hearthstone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
We're
Except
Hearthstone,
Hearthstone,
baby.
but with blocking, because your opponent's also going to
Huh?
have 40 narwhals.
oh yeah, well wait, oh yeah, 'cause
You know
they
they're
can
totally
block.
gonna
That's
like
right. That's right.
they're like totally gonna do something like that for one of the labs where they're just like they call it like I don't know like home boulder and it's just it plays like Hearthstone and they just call it home boulder. You know that's gonna be something. They
Everything
do.
has vulnerable and can't block.
Yep, that's definitely what we're going toward.
That's definitely what's gonna happen in the next lab. Definitely gonna do it. Definitely. All right. So I guess now we can transition to my meme corner. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really prep anything today, guys, for this one. So,
Dude,
Oh,
singles week.
no,
You know
Dan.
you know what we have to do for singles week.
but I'm gonna pretend like I had it prepared all along. This week we're on to Mind Meld Watch. As we all know, Mind Meld has dropped recently to 7, and we're
7.
trying to get it down to 6. Never mind the fact that Adam played a Mind Meld deck last week and 5-0'd with it. We're still trying to get that
Still
number
undefeated
down
with that
to 6.
monstrous fucking deck.
Yeah. But the thing is, Adam won most of those games just because he was happening to play elusives with 3 not well statted cards. Those 3 not statted cards being 3 copies of Mind Meld. So again, all of our lovely listeners, we need you to tweet, message, fax, beeper charge, beeper call, Riot, and tell
Page
them.
is the word you're looking for, Dan.
Yeah, beeper page them. That's what it is, beeper page. And tell them, hey, you need to get Mind Meld down to 6 right now so my favorite Runeterra content creators can do a stream for it. We're holding it hostage until they do that. So, yeah. What else? What else is going on, guys? It's the 4th of July.
It is the
Independence
4th of
Day,
July.
huh?
It's Independence Day in
Where's
America,
the-
and for the rest
Where's
of the
the
world,
aliens? Where are the
Yeah,
hey,
that's a really
hey
good-
guys? Where are the aliens in Runeterra?
That's a different region. That's coming up soon.
Space!
Okay.
Actually, Egypt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the void breaches in Runeterra's Egypt, which is Shurima.
Oh. So they're
Wait,
doing the whole aliens
Illuminati
built the pyramids
confirmed?
thing?
No,
Yeah.
actually, the civilization built the pyramids, but they also researched ancient magics and accidentally invited the aliens into the world. And the fallen Shuriman city of Acathia is from whence the void pours.
It sounds like lizard people to me.
I like the
Uh,
I like this idea better. What if in Riot's world, it was just a bunch of people in Pyramid Land, but they didn't have pyramids yet, and they said, "Hey, we need to build some pyramids," and then some aliens came down and were like, "Hey, we're gonna help you out," and then they were like, "Oh fuck, it's aliens," and they just enslaved the aliens and made them build them. But it wasn't like the cool way where they like take their UFO and like tractor beam it and then like make the pyramid. It was like they literally enslaved them and made them do that. Is that cool?
Great, so aliens as the Jews from Exodus.
Ah, beans. Yeah, that's basically it, huh? Yeah, I just made sort of the Genesis story of a lot of texts, a lot of holy texts.
Still Exodus,
Huh.
not Genesis.
So God made the pyramids. Okay.
That's
gotcha.
certainly
In a
one interpretation.
roundabout way.
Okay.
Well,
Figured it out.
Will Smith. You guys think Will Smith plays Runeterra?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Are you kidding me? Every day of his life.
What do you think Will Smith's favorite deck is in Runeterra?
So I know what Jaden Smith's favorite deck is, but
What's
I don't know
that?
about Will. It's definitely Mind Meld. He's just
yeah, absolutely. He's definitely on that
Mind
mind
blown
meld
me.
drip for sure.
over and over again.
If we were going
guys,
to map,
guys, Will Smith plays Yetis. I know this because Yetis have tall tails, also known as legends, and Will Smith is legend.
That's true. Okay, so
Legend.
actually that's a great segue into my new segment that I just made right now, Adam. And it's called Let's Map Every Single One of Will Smith's blockbuster summer hits onto a Runeterra deck right now. So we've already got the first one out of the way, and it's the Yeti deck, and it's I Am Legend. All right, let's go ahead.
Is that Elusives? Is the Men in Black?
We don't have the aliens yet. God damn it. TBD. TBD. On
okay,
Men in
wait.
Black.
Okay, wait. Isn't there a movie where Will Smith hates spiders?
No. I think you're thinking of Wild Wild West, where there is a giant mechanical spider.
Okay, we got it. So that's the spider deck, Wild West, and then you throw in Twisted Fate in there too, because he's the closest thing to a cowboy we got.
So so it's TF Elise spider aggro thing.
Yep, exactly. That's
makes sense.
Wild
I
Wild
like
West.
Is Garrett
Jaden
a
Smith
cop?
is deep.
Yes, for the purposes of this, yes.
Is Lucian a cop?
He's a monster hunter type thing.
Not a cop?
Not
Wait, so could he be
not really? No.
Brightside? It's the hit Netflix film Brightside with Lucian as a monster hunter cop.
I was thinking of the Bad Boys series, but I needed
that's
like
good
two
too.
cops.
No, that's Draven and Darius.
Wait, guys, is Brightside just Bad Boys but with orcs in it?
It might be. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Um,
I haven't either.
I
Let's just
think I'm
wildly
willing to give up on
speculate
this
about
one.
Will Smith's movies.
I've got Aristocrats. That's definitely Suicide Squad.
Nice, absolutely. Okay, wait. Let's go from Runeterra deck to Will Smith movie. So Kinko Elusives. We got sneaky people. We got ninjas. Has he been in a ninja movie?
I'm sure he has. He has to be.
Please tell me he was in
Rock is
Beverly
Rush
Hills
Hour,
Ninja with Chris
so it's
Farley.
He's
no.
That would be way too good. Oh man, I'm way too deep in the 90s now. I gotta get out of the 90s for this.
Here, I'll give you some 2000 stuff. Paris Hilton, X Factor, Survivor. Actually, Survivor came out in '98.
Oh no, it's sucking you in, Dan.
Blink 182.
The 90s will not let you go.
Spies in Disguise. He was the voice of Lance in Spies in Disguise. The movie where he turns into a pigeon. That is definitely Elusives right there, baby.
It's even got the fucking.
I did not know Will
pigeon.
Smith turned into a pigeon. What? Will Smith
there's
pigeon?
it's. I think it's a Pixar movie actually.
Yes.
Wow, that looks
It's
good.
Terra hatchling, guys. That's your 7-drop pigeon right there. That's Will Smith.
Wow, that looks like a good film. I definitely need to add that to my queue. All right. Last one. Keg Control. Will Smith's definitely been in some sort of pirate movie, right? He has to be.
Shark Tale.
Oh yes, Shark Tale. Perfect.
Shark Tale.
Wait,
dude.
actually, wait, no. That's the deep monsters. That's deep monsters. It's Shark Tale.
But Shark Tale is more about like not.
And
a
we
shark,
did it,
though.
guys. We
Dan,
mapped every
don't
single
abandon
Will
Big
Smith
Slam
movie
Move.
onto a deck. Wait, what?
Don't abandon Big Slamoo.
Yeah.
Big Slamoo?
Big Slamoo is the gentle shark in Shark Tale. Until he's not so gentle anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Well, how about this? It's deep monsters plus Keg Control Shark Tales. We get the best of both.
Okay.
What was that movie where Will Smith and Jaden Smith were on an alien planet?
Excuse me?
Will Smith and Jaden Smith on an alien planet.
That makes sense.
It was
Wait,
a movie.
which
What
one's-
was it?
Which Herbie which Hancock which deck is Hancock?
Oh man, what's the most like superhero deck?
Like drunk
Anything with
superhero.
Lux.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's anything with Lux.
Really?
Why?
Because Lux is the most superhero character on this list.
But
That's
she's
pretty
not
fair.
drunk though.
But she's not. So it's
Anything with Garrett?
It's got to be
It's-
sort of an anti-hero.
it's no. It's Lux Lux Gangplank maybe, because Gangplank is toasted as shit all the time. Because
I guess keg control.
yeah, actually, shit, it might just be keg
Actually,
control.
yeah, it's keg control. So yeah, guys, sorry, we got to put keg control on Hancock. Deep Monsters is definitely Shark.
Oh no! It's keg Ezreal. Because Ezreal
That's not a real
totally
deck,
wants to
though.
be a. It's not a real deck, but it wants to be one. Much like Ezreal wants to be a superhero.
Much like Will Smith wants to do a blockbusters movie every summer.
Yeah, like
Um,
this all works
okay,
out.
I got another good one. This is going to end us off. Any deck with Rekindler and any other clone effects, and it's the blockbuster film Gemini, where Will Smith plays
There we go.
opposite himself, so he could star in his own blockbuster twice. And
I was
think that's gonna do
wondering
it
how I
for
could
us.
figure that one out.
I think that's gonna do it for us, guys. We had some fun here. I hope all you singletons out there can have fun with Singleton now in Gauntlet. I am now sending my text to my girlfriend to let her know that we're back together. And we're broken up officially now. So I will be joining you all in the Singleton squad for the next couple months. Anyways, that's going to do it for us here at Runeterra. I've been Grandmaster Dan.
I'm still single.
And I'm Dan's girlfriend.
No, you're not. And we will not be those people next time because that was a very improper send-off. But I will see you all then.